Hello everyone, and welcome to the streets of Monte Carlo. We are here for the ESRL race around Monaco. Obviously, it seems half the grid have decided they'd rather not spend the night doing Monaco, and to that I say, you cowards! This is one of the best tracks on the calendar for technical excellence and endurance. And if you're not in for that, then you are, quite frankly, a coward. So shame on you all. I'm only half joking. But we are here in Monaco, and we are here with my my best co-commentator. Well, I only have one co-commentator, but even so, he's the best co-commentator.
Are you seeing other co-commentators on the side, Ghost?
He's the best co-commentator around. It's my good friend Sumo. How are you, buddy?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ghost. Yes, we are in the streets of Monte Carlo. We are here for the great procession of Formula One, but we love it, really. Qualifying is the spectacle of the Monte Carlo street circuit. And it certainly always does provide some great racing. Well, not great racing, but some great driving at high speed. You want to be on the edge. You want to be as close as you possibly can to the walls. Well, this has got all of that for you. And it's going to be quite the qualifying session, I think, as well. We're going to be seeing which drivers can keep it out of the wall, which drivers can not invalidate at that particular corner, as we watch Vetsku navigate his way around that one at the moment in his Williams. He's the first driver out on circuit. He's somehow invalidated his lap at the moment. It's not impossible to do, but it's not exactly the easiest thing around this track. But Monaco is certainly going to be one for the non-faint of heart. And you know, Ghost, I thought I ummed and ahed about joining you this evening, and I'm glad I did, because you know, despite all, I love Formula One, so being here to commentate is great.
It's fantastic to have you, and I'm very glad that I don't have to make up things to talk about for 36 laps on my own. So.
Well, if Baku is any indication, well, I'll have plenty to talk about, as I think Speed is going to be the first to be out setting a lap. He's making his way for Casino Square now.
Yeah, there are pretty much exactly two places that you can invalidate laps around here. One is the Nouvelle Chicane. Very easy to do if you're on the limit, actually, because you've got to really cut that right hand part of the chicane in order to get the best exit and the best time through there. And the other place is turn one, because you can very easily, if you're right on the limit, cut it a bit too much on the inside and lose a lot of time, or well, lose your lap. Speed Alcoholic, though, like you say, he's coming through now the swimming pool section and down towards the final sector. You've got to really cut that curb, and he does. Fantastic stuff from Speed. He really knows how to drive around here. I've raced him here before, and he's not too shabby at all around here. Down towards the line he goes. It's a 1:11.9. Denis Ivanov, though, beats it immediately with a 1:10.4. That is an incredible lap with elite settings, I have to say. Around here, the main Wayne 11.7. I call myself not too bad at Monaco, and with the line, my best time in a qualifying session is a 1:09.7. So you know, without the line, without any assists, it makes this track infinitely more difficult. So I'm sure Ayrton will put it into the 1:09 9s, and that would be quite incredible. Short Marcus goes P2 though.
Yeah, knocking Avi down. He had only just settled into P2, and he's back down to P3 now. I think that's Vetsku. He's on an out lap. It's his second one of the evening. Ayrton is out on circuit, everybody, so do keep an eye on the top spaces in that timing tower, because I'm sure they're going to be tumbling down. Donev has found one of the few places to invalidate a lap, and he's going to have to go around again. It's, you know, it's a one and done lap around here. Not one and done in that sense, but you know, you mess up on this lap, there's so little margin for error around here. You're going to be greeted by the walls, and that's it. That's going to be your qualifying lap over before you even really begin it. especially when in these early parts as well. If you don't get a lap on the board, then you're just going to be demoted down to the back of the grid, and a lot of drivers at the moment, half the grid even, not yet setting a lap. Aces is making his way around there. He's fresh off a Formula 2 race, making his way through. That's a big snap of oversteer there, and loses the rear. That's going to be his lap over.
Just running on board with our championship leader. He's gone through sector 1 and coming through Mirabeau now and down towards the latter part of this very slow section of track, down towards Portier, and then a decent exit for Ayrton. Oh no, a little bit of a snap of oversteer there, so it's very easy to do out of that corner. Now down through the tunnel and towards the Nouvelle chicane. He brakes very late and cuts the chicane perfectly. Very nicely done from Ayrton, the championship leader, by 25 points, looking to increase his lead again today as he comes through sector 2, through swimming pool section. Short Marcus has retired, he's out, he's crashed at the casino exit. Down towards the final corner for Ayrton. Anthony knows he's done it fairly well. A little bit of a kick of the curb as he comes back out of it, but it's a 10.2 from Ayrton. He sets the initial pace, as you would expect from the championship leader. His main rival, Deneuve, who was in P2 in the championship, he invalidated his first attempt, so he's going to have to go again. But Martin is going to be the next championship contender to set a lap, it seems.
Yeah, car number 2 making his way through Casino Square, getting as close to the walls as he likes at the moment, avoiding that bump there. That can really unsettle these cars, making their way around down here. I can't ever remember the name of this hairpin, but it's a hairpin. It's the tightest hairpin in Formula 1, I believe.
It's the Grand Hotel.
If I'm not mistaken, that's the one. There you go. I can't speak today. I'm out of practice, Ghost. No. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the cars have like a special steering just to get around that corner. If I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow, I didn't realise that.
I believe I heard that somewhere, or maybe Crofty was just making stuff up. But I remember, qualifying's the highlight of a Monaco Grand Prix, and you sort of pay some attention to it. And I remember somebody saying, some F1 pundit saying that there is a special steering to get around this particular corner as Martin puts it into P3.
He does, a 1 minute 10.8, the third one to get into the 1 minute 10s. The main Wayne coming across the line to start a lap. Deneuve as well, he's on his lap as well, coming through the Grand Hotel. And down, that's a big slide though, just a bit too much on the exit there from Deneuve, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. In fact, he has aborted the lap thanks to that. Perhaps some front wing damage on that Alpine. He's struggling to set an initial lap here in the Alpine. The main Wayne is up on his previous best through sector 1 and coming down towards Portier now, and down through the tunnel he goes. It's spectacular going through this tunnel, and it can be a bit disorienting when you come out and it's suddenly light again, as the main Wayne through the Nouvelle chicane just about avoids invalidating his lap. How's this going to be through sector 2? Coming down towards swimming pool now. He's 3.5 tenths up. It's a great effort from the main Wayne so far. Denis Ivanov is the next casualty. He has gone at Mirabeau, which is not ideal at all for him, so he won't be improving, and he's going to be gutted with that given how close he was to Ayrton as the main Wayne comes across the line. It's 11.0, not quite into the 110s.
No, not quite. Deneuve is now out on the circuit. He's just avoiding that bump. That's purple to the first sector, but we'll ignore that as this is his first timed lap of the session. Coming around the chicane there, not chicane, that's a hairpin, making her way down towards Portier, toward the tunnel. And I don't know, let's have to look at the sector time when he crosses that the line. I should really know the corner names around here, but I don't find myself commentating or racing around here all that often, to be honest.
I only know them because I have a track map with me for once. But Deneuve coming through now towards the end of sector 2, a 52.0 through sector 2. That doesn't seem too bad to me, but obviously he just wants to get a lap in to start with. There's still 8.5 minutes left in the session. Big slide there through Raskas and down through Anthony Nogues, down towards the line. It's a decent lap from Deneuve. A 10.4 puts him on the front row. Great stuff from him under pressure. after not setting a lap for a while. And I have Short Marcus in my chat, and he's told us that he just turned in too early for this corner right there that Denev's just gone through. And that was the end of his session, and he's annoyed because he had a dreadful opening lap as well. And to be honest, Marcus, I have to agree, given how close you've been to the front runners usually this season. I know Monaco can really sort of change the pace of a grid a lot of the time, but even so, I expect you to be closer than that. So that is quite the shame around this track, where it's almost impossible to overtake.
Yeah, I mean, almost impossible, but never completely impossible to overtake. We saw some great overtakes. I want to say it was last season, last race. Pierre Gasly made a great move, I believe.
Yeah.
That was on Daniel Ricciardo, was it? I can't remember. But it's a great move in a place where you definitely don't normally see overtaking. I mean, don't normally see overtaking around Monaco in general, but that place was particularly impressive.
Certainly is. Yeah, I had a race around here on Wednesday myself, and I binned it at the exit of Casino, but luckily I was able to carry on. But it did cost me a podium because it cost me a couple of places. Yeah, it's so tricky around here, especially 39 laps of this track is absolutely well, painful a lot of the time. It's really, really difficult to do, just from an endurance perspective. And if you get stuck behind someone, unless you're a second faster, but even then, sometimes it can be tricky. You really just need to wait for a mistake from the driver in front and then pounce. Otherwise, it's pretty much impossible to overtake around here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to say that I've been able to complete a full 50% race without touching the barriers more than 5 times around this circuit, which doesn't sound impressive, but believe me, if you've never done it before, it is incredibly. It is not a feat at all. I don't even think I changed the wing that entire session either. I'm happy with that one.
I do have to say though, Sumo, you are on controller, which makes it a lot more difficult around here.
Yeah.
Speed Alcoholic 2/10 up through sector 2 and down towards the final sector. Raskas and Anthony Nogues down through the final corner. DRS open all the way down, hug the wall on the inside. What's it going to be for the South African? An 11.4. It's quite a way off the pace. Vetsku does an 11.2 just behind and finds his way into P6. Donev is on an outlap as well, so keep an eye on him. And Aces is just starting a lap. Obviously that 1 minute 14 is not going to be representative of his true pace.
No, not at all. I think he'll definitely have a bit more time in him than that, will Aces, and he'll have a bit of time to prove it. I think he's on a lap right now. He is 10th up, so let's see what he can do. I think he had a bit of a big incident on his previous lap, so this is going to be a much quicker, I'd imagine, for the McLaren driver. Making his way through Portier now, down towards this tunnel. It's so impressive, but it's such a shock to the system, because I believe the sun is the first thing that greets you once you leave the tunnel, and it's almost blinding.
Speed Alcoholic retires from the session. I'm not quite sure what has happened there to Speed Alcoholic. I couldn't see his car when Aces went past, so yeah, I'm not sure. That was on an in-lap as well, so that is a shame for him. It's always so painful when you mess up qualifying in Monaco, because you feel like it's such a waste, you know, because leagues very rarely race around this track because they're just too scared of the carnage, basically, and also they just think it's not very interesting. But I think you've got to have Monaco once per game, I think, because it's such a different circuit. It's a test of endurance rather than pace.
I hate to cut you off, Ghost. Donev's making his way around the final couple of corners. He's a 10th or so up. This could threaten NER Ayrton, who is currently sat on provisional pole position. Here comes the Alpine down towards the line, opening up the DRS. It is a 10.126 for Donev. That puts him in provisional pole, but Ayrton is of course out on the circuit. Does he have an answer?
Yeah, Ayrton is out, as you say. I think he's on his out lap though, so he's just going to be starting his lap next time. Best qualifying in the calendar, absolutely, Short Marcus. That's Ayrton coming through the final corner, about to start his lap. It's he's got his brake stuck on. He's got a pedal problem. His brake is stuck on. What is this for Ayrton? Is he doing a second outlap, or is this a mechanical failure? I think it might be a mechanical failure, because that brake does not look normal, Sumo. And we could have some drama here, as Ayrton seems to have a technical issue with his pedals.
Oh dear, this could cause some issues with the cars behind. He's trying to get out of the way. Oh, and there goes Avi in the background.
Oh no! Oh, he's done exactly what I did in my race around here just the other day. Just binned it on the exit of that corner. A lot of people on outlaps at the moment, so no one else actually on a lap right now. But yeah, 2 minutes to go in this session, so they are running out of time. Anyone who's in the pits right now is going to struggle to get out in time for another lap. It's going to be close. I don't know if Denev's going to try it, or if he's going to just stay in the pits and hope that's enough. Has Ayrton got his brake pedal sorted out? It doesn't look like it, you know. It's tough to tell whether this is on purpose or an issue. I'm not sure.
I don't know. It is weird. We might have to see what he does in a few moments.
Yeah.
Marcus, is any tips on how to overtake around Monaco? Don't. No, I think Monaco's a strategy-based circuit, really. I think if you can really sort of figure out which sort of strategy is the best, you can get some really good overtaking done. I think it's less so about overtaking and more about making it to the end of the race. But if I was going to try and overtake anywhere on this circuit, it would be in towards turn 1, if you can get close enough. Or you can risk it and try going for an overtake through Casino Square. That's probably your next safest option for me. Or, I mean, you could try and force a mistake out of Portier and run through the tunnel, but I don't think anywhere else is
I feel like the main opportunities are through the tunnel for a mistake in Portier, and also down towards Casino Square after a mistake in Saint-Devote. But Ayrton's coming through. He's a 10th up on his previous best. This could be it for pole position. I've been riding on board with him the whole lap. It's looked very clean from the championship leader. Can he put it on pole? We'll see as he comes around Anthony Nogues now. Is he going to get a snapper oversteer? No oversteer at all. Down towards the line. Is it going to be a 1 minute 9? No, it's a 10.0. But he still takes pole. Deneuve is just starting a lap though. He's got 10 seconds to get to the line. Is he going to make it? It's going to be really close. 5, 4, 3. He's just about made it for a lap. So I'm going to ride on board with Deneuve. I don't think anyone else is going to challenge for pole. Martin's left the session. Hopefully he can get back in, but Deneuve looked very shaky out of turn 1 there. I'm not sure if he was fully committed to that. And down through Casino Square, he's really got to commit here. Avoid the bump, and he's up by nearly a 10th for Sector 1. I wasn't expecting that, but locks up there into Mirabeau, and that could lose him a bit of time. And there as well, that seemed like a wide line, but you can, just because that corner's so slow, you can take different lines through there without losing too much.
Yeah, it's an incredibly slow corner, and it's just trying to find the best way around. But down out of the tunnel now comes Deneuve in towards this chicane. At the moment, up down towards that. Look, incredibly held together. Let's see what the time is as he comes across the Sector 2 line. Just down in there, he's down on his time at the minute. He's really got to push and give it everything in these final few corners now. Just 2 more corners for the Alpine to navigate. Down around the car comes. It's going to be an open run to the line. Opens up the DRS all the way. No oversteer for Deneuve. Can he get himself on pole? He does. It's a 1 minute 9.9.
Brilliant from Deneuve. What a final sector from the Alpine driver. He takes pole position in Monaco. Vetsku got it up to P4 in the end. Martin is P5. The main Wayne P6. Aces just about beat Womax to 10th in the end by 7/100ths of a second. But it's our battle for pole. What a brilliant battle between the top 2 in the championship. They are reversed in their qualifying order. But Deneuve is going to be absolutely ecstatic with that after a poor Sector 2.
Yeah, that must feel absolutely brilliant. It's the one place you really want to be on pole position out of every track in Formula One around here. That is the one place to be, and wow, Doneva's done it. A 1 minute 9.9 sees him go on to the top of the standings, and I'll let you run through the order, Ghost.
So it is Donev on pole position in it with a huge opportunity here to take some points off NER Ayrton, who will start alongside him on the front row, but he's got to get a good start and stay ahead of him into Saint-Devot. Denis Ivanov takes P3 despite only setting one lap, so that's a great effort from him. Vetsku P4, Martin in P5 with the main Wayne P6 and Short Marcus alongside him. Speed Alcoholic down in P8, that's very surprising. Avi P9, and then Aces and Wumax make up the final row of the grid.
What a qualifying session then, and this should be quite the race as well. The start is going to be absolutely crucial for Donev if he's going to have any chance of keeping Ayrton behind him. But remember, there's 39 laps of racing. There's a pit stop as well. Anything can happen. There's walls that are always present, always looming over you around this circuit. So it's going to be it's going to be endurance, Ghost. It's going to be who can not touch the walls, who can make it to the end, who can pit the least amount of times at the moment, as we see a familiar glitch with all of our pit crews standing out in the pits, T-posing.
Oh yes, you love to see it.
Dominance on display.
Absolutely. Well, Martin still hasn't made it back to the session. Unfortunately, I can't invite him because I still had the crossplay turned on, so my invites are still broken. But hopefully he can find his way back in.
There he is.
Yeah, there he is. He's back. Okay, that is good. I'm interested to see what tyres everyone starts on, because that can be a crucial decision around here. Pit stops are realistically going to be the only place that you can make up some time. I'm going to refrain from giving anything away in the commentary box. I know what the optimum strategy is, so I don't want to give the game away, as it were. We are still waiting for everyone to get their setups ready and make their decisions. Yeah, in the meantime, I'm just going to go over some things about Monaco, if I can find my track map again. I lost it.
As long as you're not Ferrari, I think your strategy is going to be absolutely fine.
Absolutely. Yes, so this is the Circuit de Monaco, as we know, Monte Carlo. First GP around here was 1950, the very first Formula One season, and it's been, I'm not sure if it's been in every season since. I seem to think that it was cut out of a couple of seasons, but pretty much all of them. 19 corners around here, but they are all absolutely brutal. The race lap record is a 12.9 set by Lewis Hamilton in 2021, so we'll see if anyone beats that today, as we are off for the formation lap. Let's get everything enabled here and see who's on what tyre. Right, so almost everyone on mediums, but we've got Vetsku on the softs, which is certainly one of the decisions of all time. He's going to have to go soft hard. So we'll see when he pits. He's going to go for that undercut and hope that he has the pace on the hards once he gets out. But the good thing about only 11 drivers here, Sumo, is that if you pit early, you're not going to get held up in a pack. You will have clear air ahead of you for quite a while. So perhaps a good tactic there from Vetsku. We will see. And then obviously Short Marcus starting on the hards, as well as Aces and Wumax, which, well, you're going to have a lot of pace to make that work.
Yeah, Vetsku hoping to be as aggressive as he possibly can at the start, which isn't a bad approach at all. So I went and fact-checked you, Ghost. Yeah. There was 1 year where the Monaco Grand Prix was not held. Have a guess which year that was.
Oh, was it 2020?
No, no, it was 1955. It's the one year that the Monaco Grand Prix was not held.
Oh, so it was held during COVID. I thought maybe that was the one that it wasn't. But
I wish I could tell you why it wasn't held. Let me see if I can figure that out while we wait for the rest of the drivers to line up on the grid. Let's get my phone to load as quickly as possible.
Everyone getting set up on the grid now. Deneuve and Ayrton taking their positions on the front row. The main thing is going to be, can Deneuve get a good start? That's what he needs. He just needs to be ahead of Ayrton at turn 1. And he will be in a fantastic position to win this race. So, here we go. A little glitch on the timing screen, but that's just par for the course with F1 22. And 2021, to be honest, but we're waiting for the lights to come on. They're not coming on yet. I hope this isn't a glitch caused by Martin joining during the formation lap, because I have seen that before many a time. So we're just about waiting for things to get underway. Migrating host, who is that? Well, Aces versus Kings, that's why. Here we go, 5 red lights, and we're underway for the Monaco Grand Prix. Martin has spun it off the start. Disaster for him. Deneuve is ahead through Saint-Devote. He's got ahead of Ayrton. Vetsku is side by side with Denis Ivanov, but he's hit the wall and lost some time. I don't know if he's lost a bit of front wing on that Williams as well. Disastrous start for him if so, but Deneuve leads the pack through Sector 1 of Monaco as the 2 Aston Martins follow in his wake. Vetsku in P4. Does he have damage on that Williams? I can't quite tell. He has a look for the Grand Hotel, but he can't quite make it work. Short Marcus right behind him on the hard tyres. Martin has retired on track, so the stewards might have something to say about that. But Deneuve leads through the tunnel, and it doesn't look like there's going to be any drama through the tunnel unless Vetsku is close enough, or Denis Ivanov is close enough to his teammate, but it doesn't seem like it.
That strange Aces is ghosted, but yeah, very tentative start from everybody. Everybody's sort of holding station as we go on to come around the final sector to try and complete the 10 lap. Why only 10 drivers, Jolly? Well, it's Monaco. Not everybody likes this track, and that's all the answer you're going to need. But Deneuve getting away well at the start, keeping Ayrton away from him for the time being. But with 38 more laps to go, anything can still happen.
It certainly can. Mistakes will absolutely happen at some point. But yes, Yola, that is your answer. Just a lot of people can't be bothered to do Monaco. And like I said at the start, cowards. But they're coming through now. Vetsku still looking very hot on those soft tyres. It doesn't look like he's sustained any damage from that contact with the wall on lap 1, so he's still chasing after Denis Ivanov, but those softs are going to start falling away from him within the next few laps. And well, I'm interested to see when he comes in for what I'm assuming will be the hard tyre, but maybe he might go for the 2-stop, knowing that he'll have clean air after his pit stop.
Yeah, maybe, and clean air does a world of good around Monaco, because you spend so long behind the other cars, especially in these early stages, and just getting that clean air could always help as well. And I think Vetsku will make good use of that when he does come in, but he's keeping with the top 3 at the moment, so there's 4 cars chasing their way down to Saint-Devote at the moment, but it's looking like a good one. And I'm going to go back and correct myself, Ghost. So there are actually 2 occasions where the Monaco Grand Prix wasn't held, and that was in the year 1953 and 1954. And the reason being was that the car regulations were not finalised, so apparently they couldn't race at Monaco, and they got back to racing at Monaco in 1955, which held a 64 long stint, I believe, which, or maybe a bit more than that, but it's still going on as of now, I guess. I don't know.
Wow.
But as of then, whenever,
well, there you go.
However you want to put it.
There you go, fun facts with sumo, and that show may return at some point during this race, given that we have to commentate 39 laps around Monaco. We're going to have to bring out some facts to keep everyone entertained. But Vetsku still right on the back of Denis Ivanov at the moment, and Short Marcus has fallen away on those hard tyres for the time being. and I have to say I'm questioning his decision to start on the hards. Because you're just not going to gain anything. All you're going to do is lose time, and then yes, you'll be much faster on the mediums in the second stint, but good luck overtaking anyone.
Yeah, I think it makes a bit more sense for the guys at the back, maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've kind of dropped away from everybody else, so it's been kind of a, to a bit of a detriment. But it gives them clean air at the start, gives them the ability to just kind of run their own race and push and not worry about things until the pit stops start coming around, and then you can really sort of try and push and push and push and push once those the first stops sort of start coming in, and then if you can get yourself ahead and in a good position, you can come out and maybe get an overcut.
Yeah, absolutely. Vetsku on the soft tyres, still trying to stick with Denis Ivanov, but is now starting to fall away. But Donev has opened up a gap to NER Ayrton. As it stands, Denis Ivanov is sticking with his championship leader teammate. So decent job from him so far. Short markers still holding up Avi and Speed, both on those mediums, and going to get more and more frustrated as this race goes on, I'm sure. Because it's not nice to be stuck behind someone on hard tyres around Monaco. It's very frustrating as Vetsku just taps the wall on his way out of Saint-Devote.
Yeah, Denis Ivanov just set the fastest lap of the race so far at the moment, so he's got some pace in that Aston Martin. I think Ayrton, he might be feeling a little bit reserved at the moment, I don't think he's really giving Donev too much pressure at the moment, but I think with this race you've kind of got to race a little bit differently. You can apply pressure at other circuits because there are more opportunities to overtake, but around here I think what's more important is kind of focusing as much as you can on your own race, because everything kind of tends to fall into place if you sort of are able to get everything right around this circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you've got to do. You've just got to make sure you keep your own car out the wall. That's the main thing around here for 39 laps, and that can be very, very difficult. Like you said, it's an endurance race more than anything for the drivers. Denis Ivanov fallen away a little bit of a mistake there on his way through swimming pool. Vetsku is in the pits already. Is he going to go on hards all the way to the end? Let's see. They will go to the end. With difficulty, but they will go. Or is he going for the two-stop? He's replacing his wing, so he has sustained damage at some point in that Williams, but he is on the hards, and he will go to the end, which he will find difficulty doing, but it's not impossible by any means. And Short Marcus is holding up Avi and Speed quite a lot, so he might not lose fourth position despite this early damage.
No, perhaps not. And again, we talk about the clear air, and Vetsku's going to have so much of that. Look how far he is. He's that blue dot just coming through that sort of long left hand there. That's Casino Square, and exiting it now. But yeah, he's got a lot of space to himself at the moment. That's really going to allow him to push and get the best out of those hard tyres. Maybe not take too much life out of them, but it will definitely allow him to close up as the other drivers sort of wear away at their tyres.
100%. We do. There is one other thing the drivers do have to think about. It doesn't matter that much around here because it is almost impossible to overtake. But you don't want to use too much ERS because it is almost impossible to save ERS around here. It is so difficult. It takes a huge amount of time. If you don't press the button the entire lap, you save maybe 2 or 3% per lap. So it's obviously when you pit you'll gain a lot more back, but still you've got to be careful. And Donev has lost a lot of time here, and I just have to wonder if he's gotten damage. I can't see any on the car. There's no visible damage to his Alpine, but he's lost about a second in the last lap. So I do wonder if he made a mistake while we weren't looking, as Ayrton is now right behind him and putting the pressure on.
Yeah, I mean, if Ayrton gets a chance to put the pressure on, he's definitely going to do it. Must be some damage. I mean, this ride on board, I think, this will sort of be the telling one. If he seemed a little bit tentative coming out of that chicane, if I'm being all honest. But I'll keep riding on board and see if I can't deduce the state of the car. It does look a bit overcast though, guys. Makes me wonder if the rain is going to come in.
It does, it does. I'm sure the drivers will know if the rain is coming. And to be honest though, Vetsku going onto the hards kind of suggests to me that the rain isn't coming. Or maybe he just thinks the mediums won't make it to the end, who knows. I don't know if Denev has damage or if he's just taking it very easy and really does not want to crash. Now he's in the lead. But I've been riding on board with him as well. He does seem a little bit understeery at crucial points, so it's tough to tell at Monaco because there aren't really many high-speed corners. I think the main one you're going to be able to tell is going to be the one after the Nouvelle Chicane here. So this corner coming up now, this left-hander, does he understeer through here? Yeah, that looked pretty understeery, yeah. So I think there might be some minimal damage to the Alpine, which is not the way he would have wanted to start this race from the lead. But obviously being in the lead is going to help you no end, as all you have to do is keep the car on the road and the driver behind can't really overtake you.
Oh, excuse me, I had a bit of a yawn there. I stopped the race, I promise. But yeah, I think you know, getting damaged this early on. I mean, it looks manageable. He seems to be able to keep going, but you know that could invite that one tap to the wall. That's just that one tap too far, and that's going to give him even more damage potentially if it does go. So that could then introduce an unplanned pit stop into the equation and a wing change, which will ultimately cost you more and more time in the pits as well. And you can't really bank on other drivers making those sorts of mistakes, especially the likes of Ayrton. I don't see Ayrton making mistakes often. I've seen maybe once or twice, but that's about it.
The only time I've really seen him make mistakes is when he's chasing, when he's under pressure. When he's under pressure at the front of the field, he doesn't make mistakes. But when he's under pressure to chase someone down, I think that's when we start seeing the errors creep in. We saw it in Hungary, obviously.
Ooh, Denis Ivanov getting very, very twitchy on the exit of the final corner. They're losing the rear end and lucky to catch it, but that's going to drop him well off out of the second now. And he's going to have some work to do to catch back up to his teammate.
Well held by the Aston Martin man. Vetsku is catching up to Aces now, but the McLaren is ghosted. He is still AI. Unfortunately hasn't been able to find his way back into the session. So Vetsku should clear him without too many problems. But Womax is 4.5 seconds up the road, and that's when Vetsku's going to meet some resistance, and that's where he's going to struggle to make any progress, because once he hits that margin and becomes just behind the Alfa Romeo, he's going to really struggle to get past, and then he's going to lose his clear air, which is crucial to his strategy at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, unless he can find a way to quickly navigate Womax, he's going to get stuck behind him for sure, and that's really going to hamper the strategy that he's attempting to go for at the moment. But for now, he's got a good, he's got a 3.8 second buffer though, and he might be mindful of that. But yeah, he'll definitely be still trying to push and make the most out of this early stop.
Tend to lose about 20 seconds in the pit lane around this track. So at the moment, Vetsku, after pit stops, would come out, I believe, in 5th. He would be just behind Short Marcus, who, by the way, has absolutely gapped Avi in speed. So there must be surely some damage on that Mercedes. I can't see any though. But all I know is speed is absolutely hounding him around this track. He nearly had a go into Anthony Nogues, but just couldn't find a way through. And that's the story a lot of the time around here. You just can't really... you can have a look and you can try and see if you can make a move, but it's so difficult to actually send it, because if you send it, and the move isn't absolutely, completely 100% on, you're just going to crash.
Yeah, for sure. You've really got to be. It's a mistakes game, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I can't really tell if Avi's got damage. He didn't look too understeery coming through this section of the circuit. But we'll have to keep an eye on that Mercedes at the moment. Although he has opened up.
Oh, Vetsku and Womack. Sorry to cut you off, Sumo. Vetsku has made the first competitive overtake of this race. I think it was, like we said, a mistake from Womack through the chicane, but Vetsku pounced, took full advantage, and he's up to P7, and now in 13 seconds of clear air, so he'll be very, very happy with how this has transpired. He might well get himself back up into P4 after all.
Yeah, he might well do. And well, I mean, depending on how long they go, he could close up to Speed and Avi that little bit more. 13.2 seconds isn't too bad, and if Avi does have some damage, that's going to slow down the Ferrari as well and just make it all the easier for Vetsku to catch up, who at the moment is actually catching the two of them.
Yeah, he certainly is. Aces in the chat says he got kicked at the start, and obviously as the host he can't get himself back in. So that's a real shame for Aces. It's, you know, like we said earlier, it always really sucks to lose out on a Monaco race because they come by so infrequently in sim racing leagues. But yeah, it is what it is, unfortunately. We are on lap. Sorry. We are on lap 13 now. This is where the mediums start becoming difficult to drive on. You're going to want to go down to lap 16, 17 on the mediums, ideally, but this is when they start getting difficult to drive. This is when you're going to start getting snaps of oversteer out of the casino. This is where I made my mistake on Wednesday. It was, I think, on this very lap. Just a snap of oversteer because of the bump on the exit.
Outfitting.
Yes. And the worn tyres. And yeah, front wing off and game over. But yeah, it can be difficult at this point in the race. So we'll see. This is, if the mistakes are going to happen for tyre wear, this is around about the time in the race where they are going to happen.
Yeah, and that's when it becomes crucial, you know, and it just adds more and more to the whole endurance factor of it. You've really got to be in tune with what the car's doing, what the tyres are doing, and that you've got to be aware of that as well. And I think, you know, a good mindset to have coming in is as Avi comes into the pit lane, the first of the medium runners will finally find the answer to our question. No wing change for the Mercedes driver, so I'm assuming no damage, or perhaps he forgot like I did in the F2 race just a few hours ago. But anyway, out comes the Mercedes. Where's he going to come? Let's see. Vetsku's got ahead of him.
He's got to come out ahead of Womack, but he's not going to. He's behind Womack, and that could be crucial. He's got to find his way past the Alfa Romeo now, because Womack is not going to be coming in for a good long while yet. So that is a shame for Avi. But yeah, it's an early stop. He obviously wants to get the undercut in, so he's going to have to get a good outlap here. I do wonder if Speed is going to respond and come in on this lap. We'll have to find out. But meanwhile, NER Ayrton is hounding Deneuve. Denis Ivanov has fallen off the back of these two, but they're both staying out the pits for now, sticking to plan A, it seems, at the moment, as Deneuve continues to lead. But any mistake and the championship leader will be there to capitalise.
Yeah, certainly so. It's 2/10 the gap now. He's all over the back of Deneuve at the moment, and I think, you know, there must be that. Oh, that it's really hard to tell. There may be damage, there may not be damage. It's just, we think so. I think that's our best bet. Best bet at the moment. It's just we think that there's damage on that car there. We'll find out once the pit stops do come around, and they're going to come around very, very soon, I'd imagine. At the moment, but Ayrton doing everything he needs to do. He's putting the pressure on. Does he try and get an undercut around here? Maybe goes for an overcut, perhaps. That's the question, really. Which of these two are going to come in first?
Yeah, that's the big question, absolutely. I'd usually be able to tell you if someone has damage, but my laptop is confined to one space now after the hinge on its lid broke, so I can't bring it down with me to give you stats live with the race anymore, because that's what I would use it for usually. But yeah, so it's difficult to tell, but like you say, the best we can do is we think he has a little bit of damage, but it's difficult to say. Denis Ivanov is into the pits though, the first of the top three to come in. It's going to be a wing change for Denis Ivanov, so clearly that explains the gap that was increasing between him and the top two. He hasn't... Why isn't he leaving the pits? Oh, there we go. It's just a glitch. Speed Alcoholic also in.
Close. Will Vetsku get ahead of him? He's going to be at a much higher speed as well. There he is, and he just gets ahead.
It's not over yet. Denis has the inside on pit exit, but Vetsku is ahead. And huge slide out of the pit lane for Denis Ivanov. And Speed is down behind Avi. So Avi's undercut worked to perfection. And Speed is way down. And Avi passed Womack, the second competitive overtake today. Great move from the Mercedes. And now Speed has got to find a way to do the same, as Denis Ivanov is going to be frustrated to be behind Vetsku. But with the massive undercut that the Williams got, it's no surprise. But now Vetsku's challenge is going to be getting those tyres to the end.
Oh, Ayrton in.
Oh, okay, he's gone for the undercut. That's huge decision from Ayrton, and it could pay dividends. Donev has to have the in-lap of his life now, and he's not got Saint-Devot right at all. That was very wide of the apex. Just about managed to avoid the wall, but it will have lost him a lot of time, as he's using all the ERS that he's got. There's nothing left in the tank for the Alpine, and a bit of oversteer as well at Casino. I think Ayrton is going to judge this correctly. Donev is going to really struggle at this rate to come out ahead of him through Grand Hotel, and that's another big snap of oversteer. Those mediums are dying, and Donev has just stayed out one lap too late. Ayrton has just got to keep it together on this outlap, and he will take the lead of this race.
The gap to Ayrton from Donev is 19.1 seconds. So Donev really has to put in a shift in his final few corners as he comes through the sector 3 now to really try and get ahead of him. This is going to be incredibly close. This is the one bit of drama that the Monaco Grand Prix does manage to always provide, is when the strategy is played to perfection. But Donev is now into the pits then, and riding on board with Ayrton, who has just come into sector 3.
Yeah, me too. Here he comes. But it looked like a really good sector 3 from Donev, given the gap, as didn't really come down all that much to leader. And here comes Ayrton round Anthony Nogues. Donev is just exiting the pit lane. Watch the right-hand side. There's the Alpine. Donev is going to have the inside line through Saint-Devot. Is he going to be ahead? It's going to be side by side, but Ayrton is clear. The undercuts worked, and the championship leader takes the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. And unless there's going to be a mistake in the next 20 laps, that is game over. Donev has gotten the strategy wrong, and he's going to lose this race, it seems.
Yes, possibly so, and Ayrton used all of the ERS that he had left at his disposal in order to get himself ahead, and it has really worked out for the championship leader. He's found himself in the lead, and how much by as well? The gap is 1.5 seconds.
And that is just going to grow, given what we saw before. Ayrton definitely looked faster than Donev in the first stint, and obviously Donev has cold tyres on this lap too. Yeah, he's going to look to extend his lead to 30 points after Donev did all the hard work. He got himself on pole position, but he's just gotten the strategy wrong. He's been undercut, and Ayrton, well, it's absolutely his race to lose. Only a big error, putting his car into the wall and losing his front wing, that's the only thing that would cost him this race now.
Yeah, certainly so. 3 second time penalty for speed from multiple warnings was the first one of those we've seen for this evening. Another battle to keep an eye on is going to be Denis Ivanov and F1 Vetsku at the moment. The gap is 1.3 seconds. There are 10 laps difference between the two sets of hard tyres that the two drivers are on. And, you know, Vetsku has got himself into what will provisionally be P3 at the time being, because the short Marcus is still yet to come in. But it's going to be quite, it could be quite the battle. It's going to be some old hard tyres against Dennis, who has closed that gap now to less than a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Vetsku has done really well here to, in this second stint, to get himself into that position. And like you say, he would be provisionally on the podium as it stands. But we'll see if that actually transpires, as Denis Ivanov is right behind him and is going to put the pressure on here. Ayrton sets the fastest lap, unsurprisingly, but I'm sure Short Marcus will beat it once he gets onto the mediums, as long as he doesn't come out in traffic. As it stands, he would be down to P5 after pitting, as Denis Ivanov just beats that fastest lap from Ayrton.
Oh. Going quickly then is the other Aston Martin. Both of them showing their speed on track, and look how much he's closed up now. This battle could be over before it's really begun at the moment. But let's watch along. It's not easy to overtake around here, but Dennis is going to be putting on the pressure. He's got the advantage on tyres. They're 10 laps fresher, those hard tyres, so they're going to have a bit more to give in terms of raciness. So making their way through the tunnel at the moment. I've been keeping an eye on Short Marcus as well. I think the gap is 17 seconds, but what these two don't want to do is get themselves in a battle, and that was a big snap there from Dennis. Took a bit too much of that curb. I think that's going to cost him some time. But what they don't want to do is they don't want to get too caught up fighting each other, as if they do that, then they could lose out to Marcus once he comes in.
Yeah, absolutely, and a tap to the wall as well on exit there for Denis Ivanov. It's the fastest lap from Denev, so he hasn't given up quite yet, even if we have here. But Denis Ivanov still right behind Vetsku, but that's very wide at Saint-Devote. Does he have damage from that? I wonder. He definitely hit the wall, but it doesn't. There's no visible damage to the Aston Martin. But we'll have to find out.
Very wide through the Casino Square there. That might be some damage.
Yeah, and that's going to be trouble in terms of Short Marcus, because Short Marcus is
like damage.
Yeah, I think there is damage. Big mistake from Denis Ivanov, just going too wide into Saint-Devote, and couldn't get the car stopped. So 19.1 seconds to Short Marcus, who will be coming into the pits pretty soon. The time is nearly here for the hards to come in. Womack will be doing the same as well at the back there. But Denis Ivanov has 3-second time penalty as well, as he cuts the Nouvelle chicane. 19.6. The gap is growing, and I think Short Marcus, who stays out one more lap, is going to at least get himself up to P4 here, which would be a gain in position, as Denev, another fastest lap for him. And Dennis, yeah, he's into the pits. There must have been some damage to that Aston Martin for sure. It's going to be medium tyres for him to the end. But is he going to be ahead of Avi? No. What about speed? It's going to be close, but I don't think he's going to be ahead of Speed either. Speed just coming through Anthony Nodes now on the right-hand side of your screen. The main lane is crashed, though, in Swimming Pool. Speed Alcoholic is ahead of Denis Ivanov. He is up to P6. And Dennis exits down in P7. He's going to be absolutely gutted. He had this podium on lock as the main Wayne into the pits. He's survived the crash in terms of still being in the race, but yeah, down to last place, and that's probably where he's going to stay.
Yeah, possibly. It all sort of came tumbling apart for Denis Ivanov after those few incidents, and he's really going to suffer for that one. I think it's going to be quite a lonely race now, it seems. He's although maybe Womack can catch him, although the 21 lap old tyres on the Womack, I think he's going to make a pit stop as well, so probably not. Maybe he can catch up to Speed and Avi and maybe give them a bit of a challenge, but he's got that penalty on his shoulders as well, so he's got that to contend.
Vetsku into the pits. He's gone for the two-stop, Sumo. He's not confident of getting those hards to the end, and he's changing a front wing. That must be the real reason. Vetsku, oh, what a shame. He had this podium perhaps on lock, and but a front wing change and a new set of tyres. He's going to be behind Speed as he exits. What about Denis Ivanov? He's going to be just ahead of the Aston Martin. Yellow flags in sector 2. I think that's the main Wayne again. Aces his AI into the pits meanwhile, all the medium tyres. And Vetsku now, he's going to have to find a way past Speed Alcoholic in order to have any chance of catching up to Avi. But Speed does have that penalty, so as it stands, Vetsku would be P5 nonetheless. Yeah,
and he's on fresh mediums as well, so he's going to give him a chance to close in a bit more and catch up and maybe capitalise on any mistakes made. Speed very clean through Portier as they make their way into the tunnel for the 24th time this evening. Meanwhile, Donev has closed up to a second on NER Ayrton, who is now the leader again. Where's Marcus going to come out? He's in P3.
Yeah, he's just going to be very comfortably in P3. No car anywhere near him. He's going to come out about 20 seconds ahead of Avi and about 15 seconds behind the top two. So it's going to be a lonely 15 laps for short Marcus, but I don't think he's going to complain about a lonely 15 laps to P3 in Monaco.
No, that's not a bad thing at all. I mean,
Denis Ivanov out!
Focus. Oh!
He's crashed at on the main straight, and Vetsku's going for the move on Speed Alcoholic up the hill towards Casino Square. He's using the ERS. Speed leaves him just enough room as Vetsku tries to go around the outside. It's going to be the inside next up, and now down the inside, down towards the next corner, and he's going to make it down the inside. Speed Alcoholic has to leave him room, and what a move from Vetsku. That's the first real competitive overtake of the race. And fantastic stuff from the Finnish driver up to P5, and now he can try and chase after Avi. 6.6 seconds on.
So exciting that Ghost is cut out there. I'm hoping he's back in a moment, but what the safety car at that moment. So glad there wasn't. Vetsku getting that move done. That was absolutely impressive. Ghost, are we alive,
Hello,
Ghost?
I'm back. Yes, I'm back. Sorry about that. That was a controller fail as usual. Yeah, that was. I think Vetsku now has taken the best overtake of the week crown 2 weeks in a row after his move in Baku last time out. Going around the outside of turn 7, and it's I believe. Was it Speed Alcoholic that he got past in Baku as well? I can't remember, but
I blocked that race out mentally.
That is very understandable. But the big news is that Vetsku now has a penalty for track limits. So it was crucial he got past Speed, but he's now going to struggle to not only get past Avi, but also extend the 3 seconds. With 14 laps to go in this race as Donev is hounding Ayrton. I thought that Ayrton would be away and clear, but it's not the case. Donev right behind him.
Gosh, how has Ayrton saved up that much ERS? He had 14% last time I looked. He's on 65. Are you sure ERS is hard to manage around here, guys?
It is. It is. I think he just hasn't pressed a button in about 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need it round here, though. There's only one place you can really get any use out of it, and that's the main straight.
Yeah, and down the tunnel towards the Nouvelle Chicane. Vetsku, unsurprisingly, sets the fastest lap, but it is surprising that Short Marcus hasn't. I thought Short Marcus would have the fastest lap on lock, but Vetsku has just set the challenge. I think that was, what was that, a 1 minute 12.7. So that's the time to beat as Donev continues to hound Ayrton right behind him through Sector 2 and now through Sector 3. Any mistake from the Aston Martin and he will try and pounce.
Well, I think Vetsku knows what he wants out of the end of this race. He can.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sumo. Donev, what a save on the exit of Anthony Nogues. That car was gone. He somehow managed to keep it on the track. Fantastic stuff from him. And saving himself P2 as there we go. There's the fastest lap for Short Marcus.
Well, as I was saying, I think not Short Marcus, I think Vetsku knows what he wants. He can see Avi ahead of him. I think he knows Avi's not particularly quick. He's got the faster tyre as well. and so he's going to try and get past him, and we could see a move here. They're coming out of the final corner now. He's incredibly close. Is that Williams? The Mercedes going to go defensive, stick it on the inside at the moment. Vetsku trying to find a way through. As I look to the inside. Oh, here we go again. He's ducked under him, and he's up before it gets to Casino Square. Vetsku is put on an absolute show in that Williams, but he's got to make up that gap now. He's got to get away. Let's see what the time penalty is. It's a 3 seconds, so he's got to break 3 seconds from Avi. With the amount of laps left, I think, what, 13 laps? I think that's doable.
I don't think he'll have any problem with that at all, Sumo. I think that'll be done in 2 laps, never mind 13. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, Sumo, but I have an idea of driver of the day already.
Yeah, I think so.
I just pray he doesn't make any more mistakes for the next 13 laps. But I mean, he's provided our main source of entertainment this race, and it's been fantastic, brilliant driving from Vetsky today.
Ah, that's a shame. I was just seeing that Womax was the next car for Ayrton to get past in terms of laps, but there's ghosting on around this circuit.
Ah, yes.
That is a shame. I was hoping that would spice things up a little bit, but perhaps not.
Yeah, Deneuve has got to drive through the Alfa Romeo, though, which is extremely distracting. Womax is not giving up the blue flags. Now Deneuve gets past through the tunnel, but that would have been very distracting. It would have cost him a couple of tenths. By the way, Sumo, you asked earlier how on earth it wasn't a safety car before with Dennis's retirement. It is still broken around this track. It will never come out, even if it's on. Wow. ESRL have turned it off, but I don't think Scott knows about the bug. Even if it's on, it's Deneuve, another big slide. It's a carbon copy of the last lap. Yeah, it was broken in F1 2021.
Oh, he's got a 3 second time penalty.
No, and that is definitely game over. As if overtaking Ayrton wasn't enough, pulling 3 seconds to him around Monaco is quite another story. Yeah, it's been a problem for 2 years now. They still haven't fixed it. God knows why, and God knows how that bug even happens. But yeah, safety car never comes out on this track.
Indeed, and I'm just looking as well. Short Marcus is caught up by 4 seconds. There's a possibility that if he can get those more out of those mediums, he could snatch P2 away from Deneuve.
I think it's every possibility, absolutely. There's still 10.5 laps to go in this race. He'll have seen that penalty, of course, come up on his screen, and now he's got an objective to work towards, because before he was just driving a very lonely drive in this second stint. But now he knows 7 more seconds and he'll get himself a position. So game on for Short Marcus.
Yeah, look, it's already teetering at the 10.1009 second mark. So this could really be game on for Short Marcus in the Alfa Romeo at the moment. And that's really, other than the top 2, that's one of the more interesting talking points. And look, as we say, Vetsku 5.5 is the gap, so he's not going to lose that place unless he gets more penalties under his belt, which I'm sure he won't want to do. 23 seconds to catch up to Short Marcus. I think that's a bit too much of an ask from Vetsku, even at the pace he's going at the minute. But anything can happen still. There's 8 laps left of racing. Is it 8 laps? I don't know. Don't trust my numbers. 10 laps. There we go. It's always confusing, the numbers. I mean, I was wrong either way, because, I mean, 9 plus 30 is 39, so it would have been 9 laps, but it's actually 10, because you include the one we're on as well.
Yeah, it's... it took me quite a while to properly learn that it's however many plus 1 that's actually left, because you've got to count the one you're on as well. Yes, Ayrton still leads the race from Deneuve just behind. I'm not going to lie, Sumo, I don't know if you feel the same way. Lap 31 of 39. For a Monaco Grand Prix, this has flown by.
Yeah, it really has, actually. And, there was me thinking that we wouldn't have much to talk about, but I think F1 Vetsku's blown our expectations out of the water.
Yeah.
This chase of Short Marcus and Donev, that's added some extra spice as well. And you know, the top two have been within reaching distance of each other for the majority of the race. So we've actually had a lot to talk about, and it's shown because we're on lap 31 all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like we should be about halfway through. But
maybe the safety car not being on, I think that adds to it, because I feel like most of the time we would have been spent under the safety car.
Yeah, not saying anything about the last race in ESRL, but yeah, short markers caught about a second in the last 2 laps. That is not fast enough. That's not what he needs to be within 3 seconds at the end, but it's not far off, and a couple of mistakes from Donev could still keep this game on. Donev just trying to stay within DRS of Ayrton. Not that it really matters. I mean, you gain about, what, 2/10 with DRS down that main straight, if that. Maybe even just 1/10, so it doesn't really make much difference whether he's in DRS or not. All he's got to do is keep it on track and make sure Short Marcus doesn't get within those 3. Yeah, I think that's the main talking point at the moment, but only 6.5 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely at the moment. I think it could be close between Short Marcus and Donev toward the end, but I mean, Short Marcus not really closed up too much on this lap. I think the thing that's going to be working against him now is that the mediums are going to be slowly crawling into a window of poor performance. So they're slowly going to not be able to give him as much grip and as much sort of tact as he'd like to get out of those tyres, and it's going to be tough for him to keep on the limit. At the minute it's teetering around 9.2 and almost toward that sub 8 second at the moment, but I think with the hard tyres being on Donev ahead of him, it could be a hard ask.
Yeah, definitely, and he's also got to navigate these back markers, which must be very distracting. 8.7 is the gap, but like you say, once we get down towards lap 35 or so, Marcus is going to really struggle on those mediums to gain any ground on Donev. And talking of Donev, I think he might be quite miffed with how Rumax just cleared the way for Short Marcus straight away on the blue flags, but Donev had to drive through him for about half a lap. Yeah, a little bit of tomfoolery there from between Bulgarians, but it's not too consequential in the grand scheme of things.
This is riding along with Donev, and a couple bangs and scrapes of the wall there, getting as close as he dares. He's dropped to 2 seconds now to Ayrton, so it's not really going to be applying that pressure. It's not going to help him in his bid to keep Short Marcus at a distance, but at the moment the gap is a bit too big, and I don't think Donev's really worrying about it, actually. I think he's just driving his own race. He's pretty secure in P2 at the moment, but you can't let complacency come in, and even at this late stage. There's still 5 laps, no, 6 laps to go even. Maybe I was right. No, I wasn't. It is 6 laps at the moment. Yeah, you can't really let complacency come in at any stage of the race. You just got to keep going and going and going. You can't focus on the car behind. You must focus on yourself, and that's the best way to go through in racing. And yeah, talking about blue flags, I probably upset some people in the F2 race we just had. But I was faster, and I'm obliged to overtake. I'm obliged to unlap myself if I want to. So you know, I didn't really get in people's way, especially because I was faster than the people that I was overtaking. So I don't feel too bad about it.
Yeah, we had and we're in the off season of APPF1 at the moment. By the way, if you haven't joined APPF1, then why not? Where are you? It's obviously ESRL, one of the best leagues around, but APP, always a good fun race every week, with a very tight-knit community, and we all enjoy ourselves, and we race for enjoyment, rather than very serious league racing that you'll find in sort of main PSGL kind of thing. So go ahead and join. We have elite leagues like we have an elite league for no assists like ESRL, but also some leagues with assists enabled if that's more your cup of tea. But yeah, a bit of a shill out the way. I promise Scott has given me permission to do that.
Come join us over at Tier 2. We could do some more drivers, and the racing is always absolutely phenomenal. I've been there since the very beginning as the commentator, and Ghost has been there for almost as long as myself, and I can confirm that if there's any race to get involved in, it's the Tier 2 races if you're in that sort of place.
Absolutely. The link to APPF1 is in ESRL's Discord. It's in the promotions channel, or whatever it's called. Vetsku, by the way, Sumo had a massive moment in the slow section of the track. It was very, very close indeed to a trip to the wall, so he just about managed to avoid that. But yeah, he's driven a fantastic race. He is up there in P4, a 19-second gap to Avi. How did that happen? And Speed Alcoholic another 17 behind, Wumax 19 behind that. And then the main Wayne, by the way, is right behind Wumax. So this, I don't think Short Marcus is going to catch up. Those mediums are pretty much gone now for the Alfa Romeo in terms of pace advantage over the hards. So, well, 3.5 laps to go, and the main Wayne just behind Wumax. We've seen Wumax be overtaken twice so far this race. Could there be a third time before the end?
Oh, I'm sure he won't let that happen, but he's on the fresher rubber, so he's got a bit more to work with. Has the Bulgarian, but I think the main Wayne's got some pace. That Haas looks a bit more put together than the Alfa Romeo, and he knows what he's doing. He's getting incredibly close to the back of Wumax as they come toward this main straight, but you need to practically be pushing that car ahead of you in order to try and make a pass down there, as we saw Vetsku attempt, and it was an absolutely phenomenal pass. I must say, he went underneath and made sure he emerged alongside.
Oh, here comes the main Wayne.
Outside goes the Haas. There they go, then side by side into the next part of the corner. That's a great move.
Beautiful move from the main Wayne. He drained all his ERS up the hill to make that move, and it worked perfectly. Fantastic stuff from the Division 2 champion of last season, promoted Division 1, and he has been fantastic so far this season. Very unlucky a lot of the time, but very impressive as well, and that was a fantastic move.
Speaking of Division 2, I wonder how the Division 2 races get along. Are they having as much fun as these guys seem to be?
I wonder. I'll have to find out from Scott later on. Jacko is also racing in that race, so I do wonder how they're getting on. How many of them will finish? I think there were 10 of them that checked in. So we'll see how many of them get to the
sure there'll only be about 5 or so left after Jacko's had their way with them. So
yeah, Jacko will take them all out.
Straight line them.
Yeah, Palang!
Oh dear.
Yeah, some inside jokes from Tier 2. Vetsku into the pit. He's seen that there's a big enough gap to Avi. He's going for fastest lap, Sumo. He's going to go onto the soft tyres. Who has the fastest lap at the moment? It is Short Marcus with a 12.0. So that's the target. He's got to gain 7/10 on his best medium lap in order to snatch that fastest lap away. But, you know, why not from Vetsku? There's no reason not to. He's got the pit stop gap. And then some, and he knows Avi has a penalty as well, and he knows there's next to no chance of Short Marcus binning himself out of the Grand Prix at this stage. So he's just going to go for fastest lap, and he's going to get one attempt at it.
Yeah, he's not got too much ERS to spare either, so
yeah,
it's going to be an ask, but it's not impossible. He's just got to try and drive his socks off, I suppose, in that car. Or I don't know. I don't know how most people race. Do people use their pedals in bare feet? I can't imagine myself doing that, to be honest.
Pedal to the metal. No, I certainly don't. That would make your pedals so dirty after a few months.
No.
That would be horrible. No, thank you. But I'm just going to ride on board with NER Ayrton on this last lap. He has been, well, qualifying. He didn't manage to put it on pole. It was Deneuve who beat him to pole. And I think no matter what happens this race, no matter Deneuve finishing P2, I think he's just going to be ecstatic that he got pole today. And it's always nice around Monaco. But due to a strategic masterclass from Ayrton, got the undercut in. Deneuve couldn't match him, and NER Ayrton takes the race win. He wins the Monaco Grand Prix, extending his championship lead to 30 points with just 3 rounds to go. He is absolutely unstoppable over a race win margin. Short Marcus takes P3 in the Alfa Romeo. He'll be very happy to be on the podium. Here comes F1 Vetsku though. He's 2 tenths up in the second sector. He's out of, in the first sector rather, he's completely out of ERS. 0%, you don't see that very often. Down towards sector 2 now. Is he going to be up on his time? 4.5 tenths, that's not enough. It needs to be 7 tenths. So he needs to gain 3 in this final sector. It looked very put together there as he comes round the final couple of corners. Down Anthony Nogues. And through the final corner, no DRS of course, but down towards the line, hugs the inside wall. Is he going to get it? Yes, just about. The 12.022. Well done to F1 Vetsku, 4th place and the fastest lap. Brilliant stuff. Avi is going to be
second.
Oh wow, was it that close? Wow.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff from Vetsku. Just a few hundredths of a second, snatching the fastest lap on those soft tyres. Avi is the last to cross the line in 5th place. Driver of the day, F1 Vetsku, and I mean, Sumo, I don't think we can disagree with the game. He gets our driver of the day as well, and just get that out the race straight away.
I was going to give it to Aces.
I mean, he was definitely the most consistent.
Yeah, exactly. No, F1 Vetsku, driver of the day, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Short Marcus says in chat he forgot to pit for softs. Well, mate, to be honest, the way Vetsku's driven today, I think it's poetic that he gets fastest lap as well. So don't worry, and you still got yourself on the podium. Yeah, everyone on the podium. NER Ayrton, 5-point lead in. 30-point lead in the championship now with 3 rounds to go over a race win. So even if he crashes out, he will still be 5 points clear if Deneuve takes the win. So there we go. Ayrton wins the Monaco Grand Prix with Deneuve in P2. He's going to be gutted to lose the race, but I think he will be happy at least to have gotten pole position. Short Marcus takes the final spot on the podium, and Vetsku finishes P4 and gets our driver of the day as well with the fastest lap in the Williams by only 300ths. Avi finishes a lonely P5, Speed Alcoholic a lonely P6, the main Wayne a lonely P7. Are you spotting a theme here? Although he did get past Womax in spectacular fashion towards the end, so maybe not so lonely. Speaking of Womax, he's P8. Ace vs Kings is AI in P9, and Denis Ivanov will be gutted to not finish this race, and Mar10 retired very early on.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad I hopped on board for this race. It wasn't as boring as I'd hoped. I wish real life Monaco Grand Prix are a bit more exciting, but nonetheless, I mean, if you ask me, I think Vegas could potentially replace Monaco, but that's a bit of a hot take. But or maybe it's not a hot take. Who knows? But you know, I wouldn't be admiss to it if Vegas is any good.
It'd be nice if we went back to. I know this is completely impossible now, but the 2008. 9, not so much 9, 2007, 8 cars were brilliant. Even around Monaco you had some action happening with those cars because they were so small and nimble. The current cars are a lot bigger, but still nimble, but a lot bigger, so it's really even more difficult to make moves around here.
Gosh, I'm just thinking about one of my favourite F1 cars, that 2006 Renault. Beautiful car.
2007-8 McLarens were lovely as well.
Oh,
But,
unless you're Fernando Alonso.
well, yeah, that's very true. Still has a grudge against Lewis after all these years. Jack is in the chat. Jack Alaco. He survived. He survived Division 2. That's great news. Where'd you finish?
How many people
Jack?
did you take out?
Yeah, how many people did you take out? Did you straight line anyone in Santa Vot?
were you banging against the walls through turn 3? Oh dear, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough.
Sure we will. Well, I don't think Ayrton and Deneuve will arrive for an interview. They never really do. And Short Marcus, if you're still in chat, I hope you'll. I hope you don't mind too much if we if we skip out on the interview, because I mean, your race was basically strategy in the end. But congratulations on the podium. Still a fantastic drive from yourself. Jack says, somehow managed to get no wing damage. Wow, that's very impressive actually. In elite settings when you're not used to it. Came 4th out of 5 that finished, out of the 13 that started.
Wow.
Well,
my God.
You know, you survived. That's the important thing. This race all on your own. Yeah, it was a very lonely race for you, unfortunately. Yeah, there we go. So, do you have anything left to say, Sumo, before we sign off?
No, but not too much else. But you know, Monaco not always boring, but you know, one race isn't the what's the word I'm looking for? Isn't the best sort of glimpse into what is on offer, but some great racing that was had. Qualifying was amazing as always, and yeah, you know, out of the few times I've commentated on Monaco, this was the best one.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I've commentated twice here. That was definitely the better out of the two.
I think I've also commentated twice here, so maybe thrice. I don't really remember. I've slept since all those races. So, yeah.
Absolutely. You know, fair enough. Yeah, it was quite an entertaining Monaco Grand Prix in the end, and well done, to be honest, to ESRL. 9 drivers out of 11 finishing. That is not a bad finish percent at all. One of them was an AI from the start, but you know, we gloss over that. Jack says Slithery Cow in the Division 2 race lapped everyone except second place.
Wow.
So obviously he was on a different level in that race, but yeah, there we go. That is the Monaco Grand Prix, and that is the street race gauntlet of this season of ESRL complete as well. 3 demanding street races in a row: Singapore, Baku, and Monaco. But we've made it, Sumo. We've made it through, and a fairly entertaining Monaco race to end off with is not bad at all. 3 rounds to go in the championship, though.
Yeah, and some more conventional circuits up next, I think. Let me have a quick look. Let me have a peek at the calendar, if I can find it.
It is Monza, Monza, Suzuka, and Brazil to end off with. Full qualifying in Brazil and a sprint in Japan. So still some drama ahead, I'm sure, but in terms of the championship, NER Ayrton with a massive 30-point lead. He's won all but one of the races that he's finished this season. And that's 6 wins out of 7 that he's finished. 2 DNFs in the mix as well, but he has a 30-point lead with 3 rounds to go. I can't see him losing it. Even a DNF, he's still probably going to win the remaining races anyway, so yes, that is, but you know, you can't take anything away from him.
No, and you can never say never in motorsport.
Well, yeah. Absolutely. Well, it's time for us to sign off, I think, from the Monaco Grand Prix. So without further ado, we will see you next week in Monza. But I have been Ghost.
I've been Sumo.
And I hope you've enjoyed the Monaco Grand Prix. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.